This is Arts Alive on Classical KUSC. I'm Brian Lauritzen. And now for something completely different. What does this music have to do with this music? Would you believe they are actually the same song? Listen again.
Before I stumbled into classical music, I thought I was going to be a pop star, and I played synthesizers and drum machines all through high school. This is the late 80s. And my favorite band in the world was Depeche Mode.
That's Eric Whitacre, superstar composer, a choral music icon, the man behind the virtual choir, and a writer of some of the most sublime music of our time. This music is an arrangement, or you might say a cover, of a song by the English electronic band Depeche Mode called Enjoy the Silence. Eric Whitacre tells me that song was an anthem of his youth.
And so for years and years and years, I've wanted to do a cover or a treatment of one of their songs. I don't know what you'd call it.
I like that treatment. I like that better than arrangement and better than cover.
Yeah, something, right? Yeah. To kind of find my way into that beautiful world. And when I'm setting choral music traditionally, I'll take the poem and I'll memorize it and live with it and walk around, and then these little musical fragments kind of bubble to the surface. But this was a song, and I knew it so well. But I'd never actually sat down and just looked at the lyrics. You know, I could sing them with this dance tune, and the lyrics are they're so fragile and dark and tortured that when I started reading them as poetry, this other kind of music started to bubble to the surface. And so the treatment of it that I did actually is, it's bigger and it's lush and it's a little haunted. A lot of the things that the original isn't.
On June 5th at Walt Disney Concert Hall, the LA Master Chorale will perform Enjoy the Silence with Whitacre conducting. A bit of a preview, perhaps, of the next 2 seasons when Eric Whitacre officially becomes the LA Master Chorale's Artist-in-Residence. Artist-in-Residence, not composer-in-residence.
No, it was a very gracious way, I think, of them allowing me to kind of spread my wings a little bit. I didn't start as a conductor, but they keep letting me do it all over the place. And
you have your own group.
Yeah, I've got my own group, and I do a lot of guest conducting, and I love it. I adore it because it's so much different than the isolation of, sitting in a room pushing notes around, it's a very social experience, and also you're making music in real time. So I think part of the idea of Artist-in-Residence was that I could not only compose, but that I could occasionally conduct, like I will in June 5th. Mm-hmm. But then also that I could bring these other crazy things that I do, these virtual choirs or outreach on the web and technology-based stuff. So it was just a very nice way of them sort of saying, all right, here's the toy box, go nuts.
Yeah. Eric Whitacre tells me one of the large-scale projects he will undertake as artist-in-residence with the LA Master Chorale is a big multicultural, multimedia online concert event, which will be streamed live all around the world. The date is still to be determined, but Whitacre tells me it'll probably happen in about a year and a half or so. Eric Whitacre also tells me his post as artist-in-residence with the LA Master Chorale is about more than just Eric Whitacre. He says it's also about him conducting other people's music. Whitacre tells me he's become absolutely enthralled with the music of the Swedish composer Anders Hillborg, and he'll be conducting a work by Hillborg on the Master Chorale's June 5th concert. I'm going to try to pronounce the name of this piece, Muyayum?
Yeah, that's close enough. The idea is...
You do it right.
Well, if you say it slowly,
okay.
Muyayum. Okay, so the idea is that's the basic thing that the singers are singing is that, and it's just an invented word. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh, okay, because that was my next question.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but it's designed to get them to sing overtones, right? So if they're singing, right? And you get a whole bunch of singers doing that kind of thing, and it creates this cloud of those glistening overtones above the vocals. And it's this extraordinary piece. It's 13, 14 minutes long. It's like this distant landscape, and you can hear the overtone cloud, and then the other thing the singers are doing is this, these great waves, and it builds and builds and comes back down and builds back up. And it's kind of a transcendent experience. We're having a good time putting it together.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like the idea of throat singing and the beautiful sounds that can be created over sort of the ugliness of the of the bottom part of throat singing.
That's a beautiful way of describing it, actually. Yeah, you get the sweet and the salty in the same tone. Yeah, that's it. And a lot of this piece is so soft that really the ugly, if you will, that kind of buzzies, that there fades to the background, and what you get is just those high shimmering overtones. And it really does sound like a cloud.
Muyayum by Anders Hillborg, music that Eric Whitacre will conduct alongside his own music on the next performance by the LA Master Chorale. Ultimately, Eric Whitacre tells me his music, and choral music in general, is for everyone.
I believe that choral music is a perfect metaphor for the way a society ought to function, from top to bottom. First, you bring people together, oftentimes men and women together in the same room, from all different backgrounds. The moment you start to sing, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter what religion you are, what race you are, what your background is at all. You're all equals in that moment. And there's this beautiful moment when everyone breathes together for the first time, right? The conductor lifts his arms, and you feel everyone in the room breathe together. And it's that sense of shared intention. And in that moment, each individual ceases to be. They still retain themselves. They're still there, but they're part of something larger than themselves. It's all in service of simply making something beautiful. Simply learning more about ourselves as a culture and a community and as human beings, and the wonder and the mystery and the majesty and the sorrow and the suffering of what it is to be a living person. Nothing for me does that as quickly and efficiently as choral music. It cuts straight to the core of it, and I think creates a truly transcendent experience for everyone in the room.
Eric Whitacre conducts the LA Master Chorale in his own treatment of the Depeche Mode song Enjoy the Silence, and also music by Anders Hillborg called Muyayum on Sunday, June 5th at Walt Disney Concert Hall. Whitacre also kicks off his tenure as the Master Chorale's Artist-in-Residence this fall. For more information, visit lamc.org and ericwhitacre.com.